This is a Film Stories original podcast.
Did you know that most vitamin D3 supplements come from sheep's wool? Ew, seriously. They squeeze the grease out of the wool and process it with chemicals, and then you eat it. I'm Kat, mother of 3 and founder of Ritual, the company making traceability the new standard in the supplement industry. When I was pregnant, I got rid of products I didn't want anywhere near my body. I found that many multivitamins contain high amounts of heavy metals, synthetic colorants, and even lacked some of the nutrients we actually needed. So what did I do? At 4 months pregnant, I quit my job and started Ritual because all women deserve to know what they're putting in their bodies and why. Ritual's products are made traceable, meaning we share the science and sourcing for every single ingredient. For example, our vegan vitamin D3 comes from sustainably harvested lichen in Nottingham, England, not sheep. We trace like a mother because, let's be honest, no one cares quite like a mother. See for yourself with 25% off at ritual.com/podcast.
We made this.
Hello and welcome to the X-Cast. The truth is in here. This is our special Fight the Future Minute podcast. I'm Russ Hugo, and you're listening to our coverage of minute 46 of the X-Files, Fight the Future. This minute begins at 45 minutes and starts where it cuts to Dallas, and they go to the FBI field office to look at some fossils, and it ends at 45:59. To discuss this minute, I'm joined by fellow X-Castee Deana Ferreri. How are you doing today?
Hi, Russ. I'm good. How are you?
Still doing good, because
it's the same day.
we start off with an incredibly loud jump cut to a Delta flight with a nice old Delta logo heading to Dallas. We end up at the FBI field office with Steve Rankin here, who's a field agent. I swear he's been in other X-Files stuff, and I forgot to look it up.
You know what? I actually did look it up.
Great.
Because he looked familiar, but this was the only X-Files that I found. He had a very long list of stuff, so I mean, possible I could have missed something, but no, I didn't find him in any other X-Files episodes.
He just has a face that was made for X-Files,
yeah.
So, well, thanks for checking.
Yeah.
What I'll start off with saying is I really like this set. I think sometimes TV shows, including the X-Files, can over-dramatize police and FBI offices, make them a little, let's say, moodier than they might be in real life. A little more lighting, dramatic lighting, things like this. This felt pretty authentic. I don't know if it is, but I think it lends the scene quite a bit of authenticity. It looks legit. The goal here is obviously, because Mulder has heard about the potential stuff happening and why this building was blown up and what they're looking for, finds out about the fossils, and Scully shows up. It's exciting. Any thoughts about this scene?
Yeah, so I definitely agree with what you said about it looking that it can be a lot of sort of official sets can be sort of over dramatized, and yeah, that's a good point for this one. Everybody just sort of looks like they're doing their work. They're here every day. I watched with the commentary during these minutes, and they actually said that this particular scene, they were trying to make this look like a scene, a particular scene from All the President's Men, which unfortunately I have not seen, so I'm not familiar with it. But it made me want to watch it and find it to see what they were talking about. So that was one interesting thing.
Yeah. The initial tracking shot follows Mulder in. It's nothing it's not like a Goodfellas degree of, a show-off shot, but I think it's really well done. Just the staging, the placement, the way the camera moves through, and each of the different scientists working, and the pace and how it ends up. It's not a showy thing at all, but it's very elegant. And the last frame that it ends on it's just really well directed. It's one of my favorite shots of the few minutes that we're reviewing.
Yeah, I do like this one. I like a bunch of things about this where the field agent, He's a little bit confused about why Mulder's so interested in these little bone fragments, because as far as he knows, they were dug up several miles from the actual building. They just happen to be stored there. They're just fossils. There's nothing all that important here. And, at that point, Scully walks in and you start wondering, how did she get out of that cold room?
Oh, and I need to clarify, because Mulder didn't know the fossils are going to be there. But then the field agent informs Mulder that they found the fossils. And then Mulder just gets a hunch. Another hunch.
Yes, a Mulder hunch. Which, I mean, certainly it is a Mulder thing.
This is
to
a
have
fair
a hunch about to have a hunch about something that seems completely unrelated.
Yep. This fits. This is good X-Files hunch. This one I'm going to like. And I also do like the line and the delivery of it where Mulder points when Scully walks in the room and says, "I'd like you to let this person take a look at them, if you don't mind."
Yes. Yeah, I have I have a couple things for this minute. One, this is the first, and this is a little bit of a peripheral thing, but this is the first time we see Scully in the famous Fight the Future pantsuit, which I think is this brilliant costuming choice, because it's Scully looks like Scully. She's in a suit like she always is, but you will never mistake this suit for any other suit she ever wears. If you will always see this one and know that it's from Fight the Future. It's very distinctive. I thought that was a really, really good choice costume wise.
What is it about it that's so different? Is it the little cuffs on the shoulders? And
it's the length of the jacket and the belt. I don't think she ever has anything like that ever.
I don't pay attention enough to these things. I'm an ignorant person and will defer to you on that one.
Well, I actually think that one of the reasons that the show 20 years later, most of it doesn't really look that dated except for things like cell phones. They're wearing so many suits that you sort of forget, it's not with casual fashion, you're gonna notice something that's really 90s or really 80s or whatever it is. But since they're wearing suits all the time, it sort of feels like it could be happening now also. I don't know. That's something I've noticed.
I do notice if you look at modern X-Files, the revival, the suits are much more tight-fitting, especially on Mulder. They're a lot more tailored.
Yeah.
To a skinny fit. He wears some that just feel from the modern perspective, they're his dad's or something a little. He just picked up at Goodwill. It's close enough.
Yeah, I felt in the original run, the first couple of seasons were were very of their time with the suits, but I felt after that I think they tried to go really, I don't know the right word, but really sort of I'm trying to say timeless, but in a different way, where it wasn't super, they didn't go super trendy with whatever was big then. You might notice a higher lower rise or different sort of shoes, but they were really just sort of basic suits that would look pretty normal today.
Yeah, I think after especially season 6, they really stopped. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it went you're saying for the classic look.
Yes, and
it still holds up. Yeah, and some of the early season 1 fashion, I love it. It's dynamite. The jacket Scully wears in Darkness Falls, super cool. Super cool.
Oh yeah, there's 100. It has sparked up 100 memes.
I need to see some of those. That sounds great.
I feel like I've seen I've seen those around.
Share them in the basement when you find them.
Definitely. I mean, I definitely remember those big, bright ski jackets being so cool back then.
They were great and safe.
Yes.
After our fashion deconstruction, that wraps up minute 46. So until our next minute, remember as always, trust no one.
Previously on the We Made This Network. By projection light.
Dickinson also brings the audience's attention to a then unknown Audrey, who shines like a bright, pure beacon the whole film. It's quite amazing to think that only a year after this film, She would be cast in the film that would catapult her to superstardom and garner her an Oscar win. But it's also not difficult to believe. Her performance is so unaffected, as if she's living the part of Nora, which, as I've said, she almost had already. And it's also wonderful to see her dance, particularly during the audition scene towards the start of the film, where she flits and spins like an angel. It made me think of how she had danced during the war for audiences who were not allowed to clap due to the prohibition of public gatherings, but how she brought joy to those people as she brings joy to everyone who's watching this film every time she dances.
Don't say the C word.
Sex, drugs and rock and roll isn't a cliche. I've seen it all. There's a unique group of groupies that feel the need to collect, if that's the right term to use, like all of the band members, as in to sleep with all the band members and all of the crew.
Oh, wow. So they kind of, do they work their way from the top down, or do they work their way from the bottom up?
Yeah, get to whoever they can first. And it would always be me and one of the band members they'd never get. And I was quite proud of that. I was like, yeah, I'm the one that you don't know about. So like, you can never brag. I'm not a bragging right.
That's pretty admirable. And is there a particular reason why you're not going to shag the groupies?
At the time, I was a virgin and I didn't want my first time to be with just some random lady on the road.
Bloody hell, that really is admirable. I think I'd have thrown my virginity at anybody, to be honest with you.
It got to the point a few years on, like, I was like, I'm thinking about it now. But no.
The time is now, a Millennium podcast.
The way that he's offered that job, I think he's done that before. It's not out of character for him to go into situations like that. I know it's done a bit more with a bit more levity earlier in the season in Goodbye Charlie, where he goes to speak to the social worker and he lays off all of his problems, which is a great scene in that episode.
Yeah, it's very hard to have that sort of levity when you're dealing with literal Nazis, to be fair.
Well, yeah, it's a slightly different take on the same kind of.
Yeah, I'm wondering whether the Mel Brooks sequence of that would probably be something to behold.
Check out all of these shows and more on the We Made This podcast network.